Alrighty, this is actually our very first live show. We're going to be talking to a really a brother of mine, Brother Marsh. Is going to be live with us here today. I got Jesse here, and our topic is very. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. We have tested out the volume later on in the day, so. If we're not loud enough, just let us know. That's when we could change the volume or any stuff like that. Our topics will be very ranging a lot of stuff related to people that really do have a connection to the spirit world on a higher plane, a higher level than a lot of people do, and it ties into our normal lives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna introduce Brother Marsh here. Say hello. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Thank you, Brother Brian and Jesse, for allowing me to be on your show this evening.
Thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Well, before we actually go into detail on like how your life is, I did ask you to come on the show because you are very in tune to demons, and per se, like when we say demons, I mean we do have different types of demons out in the world.
Exactly.
Or elaborate a little bit on how you perceive demons for us. Before we get into a little bit more of what you're being a Knights Templar and BOS High Priest. Before we get into that, I just want your viewpoint on demons.
Well, the way we look at demons and paranormal entities in the Brotherhood are, what we would consider pre-Christian in definition. So what you're having here is, I'm not looking at the same thing that, say, someone else that does, like, say, the normal thing, quote unquote, would look at it as. So I'm not looking at something that's all bad, like good is evil, or, bad is evil and good is divine, and it's not so, just like with individuals. So to me, it's just spirit energy, gnosis, earth energy. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. I would, so you're basically saying that, a lot of it is not necessarily good or evil, and when we do our investigations, we do look at it that way.
Right, you have to be unbiased, right.
I like your statement, paraphrasing what you said, that it's almost more like people, like individuals. I mean, most people aren't, completely evil or completely good. It's
a balance.
Right.
Yeah, everybody has.
And then who's to say, that said person is good and or evil predominantly, because it's kind of a relative thing, because, you like I said, comparatively with human beings, they are omnipresent. They do respond to respect and, remembering that they are in fact our ancient ancestors. They aren't just some, malevolent creature that wants to take what you have and destroy it. It's older than written history, which makes it truth, and it makes it.
So yeah, some of these per se demons are predating a lot of the Christian concepts of what we think of demons today.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's kind of with your, all of your predating cultures. Europe, you have your Norwegian gods and goddesses, and you have your Greek gods and goddesses, and you even have your Native American representations of those entities and your Egyptian representation of those entities. But they were only, they were just that. They were gods and goddesses, and,
Well, I think, at least in my interpretation of a lot of stuff, a lot of the entities, have been around like forever, and each civilization almost takes a different spin on stuff.
Yeah.
Of the same entity, they either put a good view on it or make it that entity a god or goddess. Then.
Well, the one thing that you have to understand with gnosis or Gnostic energy is that if you believe it and you put your power, your actual spiritual being into it, it will in fact exist, and it does become a reality.
Yeah.
Because believing in something makes it real.
And Brian, we actually had this discussion before on Penn about
the Krampus. Yeah, when we were interviewing Brahm, pretty much, we actually touched on that exact same subject. So I mean
it's putting that thought energy into stuff that a lot of civilizations and people throughout the ages have believed that putting your what's the word I'm looking for?
Your faith, belief, your energy.
Yeah, energy is. Yeah, I had a special word that was in my head that sounded really good, and intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of people, because in society, generally throughout history, if the majority believes in it, then it is considered truth.
Right.
And like you said, with intent, the difference between good intent and actual deed is very, very different in perspective to what we're discussing.
Right. So I mean,
because
the relevance to all this is, when we are actually, doing a case or actually going to someone's house, I mean, a lot of the times, when we come down to the point that yes, there is a form of demon in that home, but I have a strong belief. I know we had this conversation before, but I mean, I do have this strong belief that a lot of those type of demons are there for a specific reason, and it's not necessarily that they're there to hurt anybody. I mean,
correct, yeah.
And a lot of people have that misconception that all demons are evil.
Right. Well, are all
the number one thing,
evil?
The number one thing would be human beings have the most demons, personal demons that are more destroying than any demon that anyone could really think of.
Absolutely, and that's created by just the world around you, and once again, what the world around you believes and what it manifests, and unless you're able to decide that what's around you isn't what you resonate, then you will maintain in the mainstream current.
Yeah.
But, like you said about if I may go back a couple steps, you were saying about how, not all demons have bad intentions or, are per se evil. And like I said, are all humans evil? No.
Yeah.
A lot of us try our best to be, good, and or there's ones who seem to make life a mess, and that's the same way in the spirit world. You have some spirits that are easy to connect with,
definitely. I mean, it's definitely a really good concept, and that actually brings up to the point that exorcisms, your view on those. I mean, it would actually tie into almost like, if someone gets possessed by a demon, is it necessarily going to be an evil thing? I mean, sometimes I believe that there is a reason why that specific demon's in that person's life, for the good or the bad, to make them realize what they were doing in their life, to change their views overall on life.
Absolutely, I agree. It is just like, you have a certain thing. Now, the one thing I would like to address is that, if you aren't someone necessarily that, if you're someone that, say, feels that all demons or, quote-unquote malevolent entities are all evil or all bad, then chances are it's going to be harder for you to experience one that is of, like you said, a guiding nature or a helping entity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, so it basically is whatever you're projecting, whatever your thought process is what you're going to attract to yourself.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And it actually goes into like we were talking about last night about like paranormal teams that are actually all spiritual in nature, like Christian type spiritual.
So therefore
groups.
they attract
Those
spiritual
type of spirits, correct?
Spiritual spirits.
And I actually noticed that too.
That does make sense.
I mean, it really does. Like I was telling you about this paranormal team that I know, like everything they do, like on their ghost box, it's nothing but like references to like the Bible, and that's strictly what they get. And it's kind of weird how that really actually happens. And
well, the old saying, "Be careful what you ask for," Brian. Because
right.
it's a matter of, like you said, Jesse, it is manifestation.
Right.
It is belief, and people have to understand that.
That's like a lot of spirits. I mean, I'm sure there's people that disagree with this too, but a lot of spirits and stuff actually gain more energy once you take notice of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I mean, like you said, whatever people believe in the most.
In fact.
I mean, it definitely is a strange thing. I mean, that, for me, example, I mean, most of the spirits, they swear at me. They don't like my presence in the room, good or evil. It doesn't matter. They just don't. It's very rare that I do run into on our investigations that they're actually nice to me. Even though I present myself as look, this is what I'm here for. It's not necessarily I'm here to get rid of you or try to attempt to. It's more or less making our clients aware of what we're looking for and what they actually should be worried about if need be.
And to kind of veer off for a second, I mean, we've actually, as a paranormal team, especially in the recent years, unless we're being harassed by some entity there, we try to treat all entities with respect because, like Brother Marsh said, they are like people, and you don't want somebody barge into your house or wherever you're staying and start screaming at you and threatening you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is a matter of, they say, you encounter 50 people and 48 of those individuals are, harsh to you, disrespectful to you, and then, unfortunately, the two that come at you with respect and understanding, you're going to have trouble realizing that they have good intentions and actually gaining something from that.
Well, and I think in the average person nowadays, in the technology era and stuff, it's aren't very aware of spirits and stuff half the time. So it takes them a lot of energy to try to contact people.
Right. Well, it's not. Well, there's just so much, if you will, feedback. Just as you have, white noise that interferes with what you're recording or what you're announcing.
Right.
Also in our on our Earth, we have feedback from everything from electric lines to cell phones and computers. And at a time when those things weren't around, communicating with the other world was much simpler.
Right.
Because you had to do not as much,
more of a one-on-one connection.
Yeah.
Correct. In fact, yeah.
I'll give you an example of that. Like in the 80s, nowadays we actually have, in an average household, we have things on standby. And on standby, there's a lot of the EMF fields that actually do come out from those. We're using a lot more power than we did in let's say the 80s or 70s. That we would have like one or two things on. Now we have over 20 over 20 things on that's on all the time, even on standby. So I mean, yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people do
a lot of interference.
Even psychics, for example, it's becoming harder.
Right, definitely.
This stuff is really interfering with a lot of stuff.
It's a good example as to one of the biggest reasons why occultists, why we do our rituals at night, because in the beginning it was safe to do them at night as opposed to daytime, but now it's actually more frequency reduction.
Yeah.
Like it's quieter, the whole ebb and flow of said day is gone, and you can actually
that's
pay
exactly
attention to what's real around you.
And we get that question a lot, just as paranormal investigators, people that believe in spirits and stuff. They're like, well, why don't you investigate during the day? Because spirits are around all the time, and they don't disappear during the day.
Right.
And I mean that's more or less the answer we generally give people as to why, is because our equipment even functions better when it's nighttime. It's
just a matter of less interference in general.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. By the way. Eric commented we're doing really well here. Well, thank you. I mean, it's definitely, at first it's kind of a little bit nervous here, but I mean, it's definitely going well, I think.
Well, I appreciate it once again, and
no problem, man. It's not over yet.
Hopefully everybody can hear us okay. So.
Fortunately, we can't hear Penn on the network there, but anyway, I mean, back on track here. It's definitely something that occultists and paranormal investigators have something in common. If they do their research, I mean, definitely that the sun alone has a lot of have a lot of flares and stuff like that do interfere with instruments. But when you get into the occult aspect, you would have to say that, yeah, it does tie into what specific kind of ritual that you're going for, and that you want to perceive your level of what you want to achieve with that specific ritual. I mean, that's definitely something really, really related to what paranormal investigators do. I mean, that's definitely something.
Right. As far as seasonal, and we follow the moon and do rituals accordingly.
Some of the same
everything
aspects apply
does
to
have
Oh,
its
yeah,
time and where it's most effective or, most evident.
All right. Well, a lot of people say that, we're probably going to get into a little bit of what you do now. I think it's about time that we explained your viewpoints and get to know you a little bit more over just plainly going out. Because a lot of people are just like, they're not, what am I trying to say? They're kind of not open-minded about things. So the reason why we didn't go into what you practice or what qualifies you as not just an occultist, what you're involved with, the BOS, if you want to a little bit go into that, I mean, that's fine, and the Knights Templar
Absolutely.
kind of thing too. I hear that you actually have a festival coming up here.
Yes, in fact, the brother has 2 offline festivals a year, one at Beltane and one at Samhain, which is
going to show
generally
people.
May,
I'm sorry to cut you off.
May 22nd, and then generally, of course, around October 31st, which is actually our fiscal new year, as witches.
There.
I don't know exactly how you would like for me to explain myself as far as.
Well, I have a question, if you don't mind going into it. A comment that you made earlier about the entities or demons, if you were going by that term, being our ancestors. Can you go a little bit into that?
Absolutely. It's also a good example of today's computer age, and the farther we get separated and divided from the things that truly make us antennas as our corporal bodies. It's everything from the Industrial Revolution to all of the electrostatic environment. We are, in fact, our ancestors, because.
Are you talking about reincarnation now, or?
In fact, yes.
Okay.
It's a matter of finding where you belong, and the ancestral worship that is very important to the Brotherhood of Satan has to do with people before us and spirits before us that pave the way for what we do that makes us who we are.
So, explain, I mean, obviously when you say Brotherhood of Satan, everybody's going to get, kind of really crazy, and explain exactly,
well,
not
the word
saying
Satan
things or anything like
is
that.
derived from the word shaitan, which just means adversary. And so, I'm not going to necessarily get into anything too combative, if you will, but
that's fine.
It's
what I'm trying to say is that you don't go off and kill things or anything like that. Or...
Absolutely not. We respect with the utmost women and animals. In fact, much more so than any other religion at this time that would come to my mind right now.
Okay. We'll go into the Knights Templar part here. I mean, that obviously there are some things that we just can't talk about, so we'll just go into the Knights Templar.
Yeah, forgive me if I'm being bleak, but I'm trying to be helpful.
Yeah, that's fine. I completely
time.
understand. I know some of the rules for that kind of stuff, so but definitely, we can go into something else Oh, sorry, a fly.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you grabbing at there?
It's a fly. It's in my face. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the whole thing with the adversary is, like, you know, you were saying people are going to go crazy. You know, Satan is a word just like toothbrush, if you want to look at it that way, because it was a word invented by man to mean a certain thing, and it just happens to me, or it happens to mean negative things to most people, you know, and call it evil. You know, the word evil is the word live in reverse. And the thing to me about that is, you know, it's really a matter of perspective and what you know, if you just insist that you know when things started up and how they were, then you're never going to be willing or able to contact any, you know, quote-unquote demons.
What was that? What did Eric say?
Eric said that what was it? Catch it with chopsticks?
Oh, the fly.
Yeah.
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 Wax on.
I got it.
Wax off.
Yeah.
No,
There is actually two different types of Satanism. Am I correct?
What are you doing now?
Well,
Fixing my
generally, modern society has deemed, you know, the Church of Satan, which was Anton LaVey's.
That's a name that a lot of people in the paranormal community have probably heard of. I know I've heard of it.
Correct. And that's, you know, that's very typical in most people's, you know, beginning research, or, you know, sometimes that's enough to satiate someone's desire with the occult. But, you know, we have the anti-LaVey Satanism, which is essentially a philosophy that stems from not believing in anything, not having a desire to belong, yet having and creating a community within itself. So it's kind of a contradiction. If people do gain from it, then I think that's great. And then, you know, you also have your shock Satanists that, you know, just are out there to make people,
I'm goth.
you know, actually, you know, those people are the ones that do damage to the people like myself and my brothers and sisters in the BOS. Because, you know, none of us dress like zombies, none of us wear gutter nails, you know, we believe in something that's before words and stories. It's about energy and realizing that things need to be unified as one. And the farther apart from that they are, the farther apart we are from evolving as a people.
Yeah, I was actually talking to you last night about that the paranormal community actually has something like that right now. It's actually really weird how occult groups and paranormal teams actually are very, very similar. It's more like we want to have the unity going on. You know, we have the scientific community, and then we have the spiritualists, investigators. Like I was saying, that I try to mix them both together.
Balance.
A balance in life, which everything should actually have. You know, and it's something that I strive for as as the leader of the, you know, PEP. You know, it's something that we all need to do. The unity, I mean, we all say unity all the time, but until we actually get down to it and, like, actually look, you know, sit down and actually talk about it, it's more like it's never going to happen unless we do. I mean, it's just like,
Right. Exactly.
Levianism, you know, and Luciferian or theistic, you know, it's all.
Right. Well, within the esoteric community, you have, you know, a very large number of groups that, you know, have fallen into or given themselves a specific title. And then, of course, with said title comes the way that they're quote-unquote supposed to behave, who they're supposed to associate with, and who they're not supposed to associate with. But the bottom line, especially with people that are drawn away from quote-unquote the norm, you know, we all need to seek each other out because going back to what you said, Jesse, you know, we are our ancestors, and you know, each person that recognizes the fact that they have more energy in themselves in just one lifetime becomes 10 times that much more powerful. And if you take 1,000 of those people, like Brian was saying, and put them together, you know, you have a pretty intense Gnostic vibration, if you will, as far as earth energy, because it does resonate from the beginning of the Druid times and the beginning of all of the occult truths that, you know, spur from a lot of the things that have in fact demonized not only our gods and goddesses, as they've done the Greeks and the past and many others as well, is they make us look that way too. And the truth is that we want love, mutual respect, not only for the spirit world, but for the physical world. Because the physical world, unified, is in control of everything, future and past.
That actually goes into what I was talking about earlier too, but about
Talk about everything earlier.
I do. You know,
well, it's like the word community. It has the word unity in it. But, you know, most communities aren't unified.
Yeah.
Right.
That was like,
you know, to me, it's the fence mentality. At one point, you know, there was no such thing, and then people, you know, realize that, I can build this wooden fence, and I'm no longer responsible to the people right next door, and you know, not to get crossover from our topic, but really, you know, this all is a great metaphor for what we do, either because we're, you know, living in, like, with false expectations of fear of the supernatural, or we just have fallen into that fear with everyone else.
yeah.
And, you know, if you don't have the fear, then it's, you know, it's not what you were saying, what you were saying before, you know, it's, we're not taking responsibility for the fact that they're there, and so there's no unification, spiritual or physical, at this juncture.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be a connection between the two, wouldn't you say? I mean, between the physical and spiritual.
And like I said, the more unified the people and population, the more spiritually vibrant, you know, the outside, the universe around us, and, you know, the actual Mother Earth itself will vibrate and resonate the truth, which is in some places only known by the nature around you when you're there, because of how things have changed so much. But but the earth will always know what's true, which is why that's what we worship.
So what I was actually gonna say before is, like I was saying, I was part Indian, and
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about the subject of how spirits can actually influence your life, and I mean this actually ties into like the demons and all this other stuff that we as investigators and people as human beings living with these things,
And things we encounter in our investigations also.
Yeah. Do you feel that the spirits do have a direct influence on our lives?
Certainly. I feel that, once again, it's just so easy to compare them to human beings. It seems to be something that people relate to more, but, people can say, they can recognize the fact that one of their loved ones could follow them around, say, that has crossed the veil and does things for them, guides them, helps them out. Okay, that's a ghost encounter. That's what some might consider a guardian angel. But when you are accompanied by or recognized by something that's much older than, say, grandma or the stories, that doesn't mean that they're there like you're saying, Brian, to do you wrong in any way. In fact, if you recognize the fact that they're there, it kind of goes back to the fence thing. If you recognize the fact that they're there, they will acknowledge the fact that you acknowledge them.
Oh,
and that comes with, like you said, guidance, the knowledge of our ancient cultures, and really that's the key to understanding everything in the present and everything to come, is to have a good grip on what has happened already.
Yeah, definitely.
Forgive me if I'm not answering your questions directly.
Oh man, you're right on. You're right on. You're definitely right on.
Well, thank you. I feel like I go on a tangent every once in a while.
We got time for tangents.
We got time for tangents.
Oh, you got time for tangents? I like that.
I do it all the time on the shows. I'll just start randomly talking about things on the show. So
Yeah.
it's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
well,
Fits right in. Oh,
what was that noise?
I don't know what that was.
that wasn't you?
That was me. I accidentally hit the volume button.
Oh, okay. It's like, okay, we got things going off
just
now.
To, mess stuff up some. Because that's what we're supposed to do, I guess.
So we actually have some of your pictures up here, like
Yeah, you have some very intimate, very interesting ones up, in fact.
We got one here that looks like a full Templar garb with like the helmet and everything.
Correct. That was the day that I was knighted a full Knight Templar of the Baphometic Preceptory, which also Brian was kind enough to put the information up to that, as well as the information for the upcoming solemn event, which we are still accepting registrations for, not to plug, but
yeah.
we would love anyone, like I said, if you feel the vibrations of the earth and don't understand what guides the herd, come and see what we're about. And I assure you that we will embrace you there.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, I looked at a lot of the photos and that, and
yeah, I think that the ones that you did pick up on were definitely very important.
yeah, I have that knack to pick the ones that you really need.
Right. Well, they say, a picture speaks 1,000 words, and
nobody wants to read that much nowadays. So nobody wants to read that much nowadays. So.
No way. No, if you can't click on if it doesn't fit in like a highlighted blue area, then it's too long.
Right.
If it's not part of a link, it's not. It doesn't matter.
Right. Nobody reads the link. They just click on it.
It looks cool.
That looks blue. Let's click on that.
It's blue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it would be awesome if it was that easy with everything,
Right.
But what I'd like to really emphasize, if I can, is that we are, I think, successfully touching on demons in a way that respects hopefully everyone. That regardless of belief, can understand. Because what I'm trying to purvey is that it's not. It's just as simple as having a ghost of a relative from, say, that you remember in this life. But the most important thing to do is realize that you have relatives from excessive lives, and they're all just as important in the eye of time as the ones that you saw yesterday. And the more you recognize that, it's just like unifying with people that are occupying corporate shells. It's another form or another elevation of unification. And that's pretty much demons summed up in a nutshell.
Okay. Yeah. It definitely. I mean, it really is relevant to a lot of things. But I actually want to get into your personal experiences with ghosts. If you
got
if you
cool
mind.
ghost stories.
Oh yeah. Well, I come from a bloodline druid family that originated in Bayern, which is just the Bavarias of Germany, and was taught beginning at the age of 8 the ways of my druid ancestors, and to explain to someone rather that didn't understand what a druid was. Like Brian was saying earlier, my biggest comparative would be the Native Americans. Essentially, we were the Native Americans of England and France and Germany. And we, as a family, as I was younger, we learned to commune together with the spirit world, and I'm very empathetic. And for those of you out there that may not know the definition of empathetic, that's where you feel what the things around you are feeling, be it, well, in most cases, other people. Mm-hmm. And if it's sorrow, then you take that with you. And so you can get that from the physical, and you can also get those emotions from the spiritual world.
I would say on Joe we have people in the Penn Network that understand that term quite well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm one of them,
including. I just got to mention, I'm wearing a PET hat.
It's a gift curse, but yes, we've always had ghosts, that followed us wherever we moved here at the farm. It's very, very active. They're welcome here, which is probably one of the biggest reasons that they're present where I go, and I'm sure with you, Jesse and Brian, as well, is that you see them when other people wouldn't, because they're not as reluctant to reveal themselves to you, because they know that you're not a threat or a danger.
Right. Well, that's, I mean, and people that don't understand this type of stuff, I mean, best metaphor for it is, I mean, just like, even like animals and stuff, I mean, they can tell when you are receptive to an animal, you know, they you know, your attitude and stuff, things can pick up on that, whether it's animals, people, or spirits, or any entities.
Right, absolutely.
So, I mean, I know that's not a very good analogy, but, I mean, it's something that
No, I think that's
people may understand.
Well,
pretty
imperfect,
accurate,
pretty much.
actually.
Right.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I've certainly had many encounters, you know, that have ranged from pretty much all of your different types of spirit entities. I also have guardian, and yes, we do consider them demons. I have guardian demons, and it's kind of like just picking a favorite family member and hoping that they follow you and help you through your way or along your path.
Well, if I may stray into it, I'm not sure what all your beliefs are, if you're willing to go into this or not, but actually that reference right there you just spoke of. So now, what's your views on like guardian angels? Are they the same as demons, just that whole not black and white thing, or?
they're pretty much the same thing, I think, personally.
Right, I agree with Jesse, Brian. It's just a matter of what you're willing to accept.
It's the whole perception and not having preconceived notions of names.
There's no such thing as white or dark magic.
Right.
A lot of your any of your Wiccan paths will disagree.
Right.
In a lot of cases. But, it's just energy, and like we were talking about much earlier, if you believe in it, it'll manifest, it will come to, it will come to be, and that's the same thing with what we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah. I understand anyway, so.
Uh-oh. Well, that's not... We got one person.
Oh, hey. I'm just listening. I mean, you know my personal views on things. I'm just not gonna get into it myself on air, so.
Well, I hope that I didn't overstep my bounds.
Oh, no, you didn't. I'm just saying, a lot of what I do in my life, I really do try to.
What do you do, Brian?
Yeah, stop. Stop.
You do sneaky stuff?
I do sneaky stuff. I go in the backyard, my slippers,
Yeah,
So crazy.
Absolutely.
I go outside my socks.
No socks.
Well.
Oh, God. And yes, we do say God. We just see a different thing when we say it.
Well, that's the whole, your perception. I mean, people's perception of stuff is their reality. I mean, it is what you make it.
Right, it is
does
that
go back
simple.
onto that, yeah.
Like I kind of got off topic and straight off of the white and black magic thing.
Yeah,
Theory.
the slipper thing just
There's
threw
no
us
such
off.
thing. It's all about intention, just like you said about manifesting something through will. You know, it's the law of attraction.
Right.
And, you know, the law of attraction can work for you, or the law of attraction can work against you. And, you know, those instances are even considered quote-unquote evil by most people if things don't go in their favor. And usually, if you worry about them, they're going to manifest whether
you like it or
you
not.
want them to happen or not.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a whole story in itself. But
it definitely is. We got like
but it does go back once again to, you know, the entities that you know you choose subconsciously or spiritually to surround you. You know,
yeah,
it is about manifestation, and if you stay full of disgust and feel separated, then, you know, chances are those are the kind of ancient entities that you will attract. And, you know, if that's what you attract, then probably you'll be okay with that. But, you know, once again, that's it's not like light or dark, it's what person attracts.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing, is saying that, you know, we live in this house and, you know, now there's a dragon in the kitchen and we don't have any idea why. Well, you know, chances are you've disrespected something that
totally
is so much older than people can imagine, because people, once you take the concept of time away from people, they lose power. They feel like they've lost control over, you know, they want everything regimented into days and into years and into months.
And we're
Well,
running
if you take the time thing away too and say, all right, these things that you don't accept are simply unacceptable to you because they don't fall into the block of time that you've allotted history to actually have had transpired.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely goes into, like, a lot of our paranormal investigations as well, too. I mean, a lot of paranormal teams are disrespectful to a lot of things, and they don't they don't need to be necessarily something that's been dead relative or whatever, whoever died in that place. It's more like that land could have been occupied by something.
Did you just have a drive-by shooting there, or what?
A drive-by.
Actually, I just crashed into my altar.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh,
not good.
It was pitch black. I have no other excuse.
Gotta have some.
You know, we don't use lights because we can see in the dark and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's vampires like that too.
Yeah, I got night vision too, but you know, I'm glad that this is a light conversation, and I don't know what's going on in the chat, if anything, but you know, like I said, I'm not here to offend anyone. In fact, I'm here to let people know that a lot of the words that they associate with unacceptable behavior or activities are the words that are going to unite this planet for the better.
Right. Mm-hmm. And now we are running out of time here, so is there anything that you want to touch on before we do close it down?
About 5 minutes here.
No, I think that, you know, once again, thank you very much for having me, and Brian, thanks for giving the Brotherhood, you know, some recognition, and, you know, we do try to do good things, and that's what we're all here for. And, you know, that's the same with, you know, in the paranormal world. You know, people act, or, you know, they act the way you treat them. And you teach people or entities how to treat you as well. address them.
Yeah.
And what you ask for is usually what you'll get.
Right.
All right. Well, this is I'm probably gonna close up here. I mean, we're gonna probably do a little bit more stuff like this, and we'll probably have Brother Marsh on some other time talking about something else. But we do have a lot of stuff coming up this for PAP coming up soon. We're doing a charity event in November for a youth group, so we're gonna have a bunch of kids in that, and we're gonna show how to ghost hunt, and that's gonna be
Everything
pretty
something all kids should know.
Yeah, and we're probably gonna do some more Masonic lodges if we can get our hands on. The brothers are probably, we're trying to get some cooler buildings, and I do hear that possibly maybe another Masonic lodge is coming up soon for us to
Something
go to.
it's always a possibility. We also
Interesting.
possibly going out of state again next year.
Yeah,
If things
Louisiana.
line
We're
up.
gonna probably try to come down by Penn and Eric and Kim and them guys down there, and we're gonna see if they can help us out, find some cool places, and do an investigation with Penn Network. How cool would that be?
Right.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Because there's a lot of great places here where I'm located.
Alrighty, well, I mean, we're gonna have to say goodbye here, and hopefully everybody enjoyed our show. I mean, it definitely is something new for us, and very intriguing, I think. A very intriguing conversation.
Well, thank you very much once again for having me, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Alrighty, man. Take care. I'll talk to you down the road here, alright?
Ave.
Ave. Have a good night.
You too, fellas.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty.
What do you think, man? Am I going too far?
Well, anyway, that was it. I mean, hopefully everybody enjoyed it. We're probably going to have some more guests on the show.
Yeah.
A lot more leaders and different types of cults and that. Just because they are very spiritual in nature, and I think a lot of it does tie into what we do.
Right.
Looking into this stuff a little bit deeper. That's pretty much it.
And I mean, like Brian just said, we're gonna try to have.
It's him. Alrighty.
So,
Well,
alright, I guess we're out for the night. So.
later. Have a good night.
Okay. Alright.
Be very ranging a lot of stuff related to people that really do have a connection to the spirit world on a higher plane, a higher level than a lot of people do, and it ties into our normal lives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna introduce Brother Marsh here. Say hello. Can you hear us? Okay.
Hello.
Um,
Thank you, Brother Brian and Jesse, for allowing me to be on your show this evening.
Thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Well, before we actually go into detail on like how your life is, I did ask you to come on the show because you are very in tune to demons, and per se, like when we say demons, I mean we do have different types of demons out in the world.
Exactly.
Or elaborate a little bit on how you perceive demons for us, before we get into a little bit more of what you're being a Knights Templar and BOS High Priest. Before we get into that, I just want your viewpoint on demons.
Well, the way we look at demons and paranormal entities in the Brotherhood are,
Yeah, everybody has.
and then who's to say, that said person is good and or evil predominantly, because it's kind of a relative thing, because, like I said, comparatively with human beings, they are omnipresent. They do respond to respect and, remembering that they are in fact our ancient ancestors. They aren't just some, malevolent creature that wants to take what you have and destroy it. It's older than written history, which makes it truth, and it makes it.
So yeah, some of these per se demons are predating a lot of the Christian concepts of what we think of demons today.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's kind of with your, all of your predating cultures. Europe, you have your Norwegian gods and goddesses, and you have your Greek gods and goddesses, and you even have your Native American representations of those entities, and your Egyptian representation of those entities. But they were only, they were just that. They were gods and goddesses, and,
Well, I think, at least in my interpretation of a lot of stuff, a lot of the entities, have been around like forever, and each civilization almost takes a different spin on stuff.
Yeah.
Of the same entity, they either put a good view on it or make it that entity a god or goddess. Then.
Well, the one thing that you have to understand with gnosis or Gnostic energy is that if you believe it and you put your power, your actual spiritual being into it, it will in fact exist, and it does become a reality.
Yeah.
Because believing in something makes it real.
And Brian, we actually had this discussion before on Penn about
the Krampus. Yeah, when we were interviewing Brahm, pretty much, we actually touched on that exact same subject. So I mean
it's putting that thought energy into stuff that a lot of civilizations and people throughout the ages have believed that putting your what's the word I'm looking for?
Your faith, belief, your energy.
Yeah, energy is. Yeah, I had a special word that was in my head that sounded really good, and intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Well. Alrighty, this is actually our very first live show. We're going to be talking to a brother of mine, Brother Marsh, is going to be live with us here today. I got Jesse here, and our topic is very, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. We have tested out the volume later on in the day, so if we're not loud enough, just let us know. That's when we could change the volume or any stuff like that. Our topics will
what we would consider pre-Christian in definition. So what you're having here is, I'm not looking at the same thing that, say, someone else that does like, say, the normal thing, quote unquote, would look at it as. So I'm not looking at something that's all bad, like good is evil, or, bad is evil and good is divine. And it's not so, just like with individuals. So to me, it's just spirit energy, gnosis, earth energy. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. I would, so you're basically saying that, a lot of it is not necessarily good or evil, and when we do our investigations, we do look at it that way.
Right, you have to be unbiased, right.
I like your statement, paraphrasing what you said, that it's almost more like people, like individuals. I mean, most people aren't, completely evil or completely good. It's
a balance.
Right,